Welcome to Crafted Nest, where creativity meets sustainability and transforms into living beauty in your garden. Today, we're going to change the way you see discarded items, from plastic bottles and license plates to old tires. All of them can become breathtaking works of art for your backyard. Imagine a garden that tells a story, where every corner radiates charm and every detail is born from your own hands. From shimmering mosaic walls to colorful recycled planters, every idea here is not just stunning to look at, but also eco-friendly and full of meaning. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our newest DIY inspirations that will keep your garden fresh, unique, and absolutely captivating. Let's start this creative journey together and take home ideas you can bring to life today. In the heart of a garden, there's a wall that tells a story without a single word. Under the morning sun, its surface comes alive with a tapestry of color, reds, blues, greens, and yellows dancing together in harmony. This is no ordinary mural. It's born from what once lay forgotten at the bottom of kitchen drawers and recycling bins: bottle caps. Creating a bottle cap mosaic mural is a gentle rebellion against waste. Each cap, whether from a soda, juice, or sparkling water, becomes a pixel in a grand design. There's a meditative rhythm to the process, sorting by color, envisioning patterns, placing each piece just so. It's art that demands patience, but rewards you with beauty that feels deeply personal. On a warm afternoon, you might find yourself seated on a low stool, a basket of bottle caps at your feet. Birds chatter in the distance, a soft breeze brushes against your cheek, and your hands move steadily, gluing tiny pieces into place. With every addition, the wall transforms, gaining depth, personality, and vibrancy. This mural doesn't just decorate, it connects. Neighbors stop to admire it, some offering their own collection of caps to contribute. Friends ask about the process, inspired to try it themselves. In this way, the mural becomes more than an art piece. It becomes a conversation starter, a shared project, a memory etched into the life of the garden. And perhaps the most beautiful part? Knowing that every bright circle once destined for the landfill now shines proudly in the sunlight, part of something bigger, something enduring. A testament that what we discard still holds the power to inspire. In the quiet corner of a garden, a small wooden structure stands proudly, its roof shimmering under the sunlight. At first glance, it's just a birdhouse. But look closer, and you'll see a touch of whimsy, a roof patched together from weathered license plates, each carrying a fragment of a journey once traveled. This birdhouse tells stories without speaking. One plate might have rolled down a coastal highway, the salt air leaving soft traces on its surface. Another may have journeyed across dusty country roads, bearing faded numbers like an old photograph. Now, together, they shelter tiny feathered visitors, offering a home that's as unique as it is practical. Crafting this piece is a joy in itself. The wood, sanded smooth, forms the warm and sturdy body. The plates, cut and shaped with care, bend to form a patchwork roof that gleams when kissed by the sun. It's a perfect marriage of rustic charm and upcycled creativity, turning forgotten metal into a rooftop refuge. Morning light spills across the garden, and you hear it, the soft flutter of wings. A pair of sparrows lands gracefully, inspecting their new home. Soon, bits of straw and dried leaves appear at the entrance, a sign that the place has been approved. You watch from a distance, heart warmed by the sight of life settling in. Beyond its function, this birdhouse sparks conversations. Visitors pause, smile, and sometimes run their fingers along the cool metal roof, reading the faded numbers like pages from a travel diary. It's proof that what we reuse can be both beautiful and meaningful, offering sanctuary not only to birds, but to the stories we choose to keep alive. On a breezy afternoon, the garden hums with a soft, melodic charm. High above, from the wooden beam of a pergola, a wind chime dances in the air. Its music is unlike any other, each note born from the gentle clink of silver spoons meeting the smooth edges of glass bottle pieces, catching the sunlight as they sway. These chimes are crafted from fragments of everyday life: a wine bottle from last summer's celebration, a soda bottle shared over laughter, spoons that once stirred warm cups of tea. Together, they become more than their past lives. They transform into an instrument that speaks in whispers carried by the wind. The making is as delightful as the result. You begin by carefully cutting the bottle bottoms, the glass glowing in rich emerald and cobalt hues. Silver spoons, slightly tarnished with age, are bent into graceful curves, each one unique. With beads threaded between them, the design becomes a cascade of texture and sound. When the wind stirs, the chime awakens. Notes ring out, soft but clear, mingling with the rustle of leaves and the distant call of a bird. It's a reminder that beauty can be found in both sound and silence, in the spaces between each chime. Visitors pause when they hear it. Some close their eyes, letting the melody pull them into a moment of peace. Others marvel at how something so simple, bottle glass and spoons, can feel so magical. And perhaps that is the secret of this wind chime. It invites you to listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart, to the stories hidden in the wind. In the heart of the garden, a glimmer catches your eye. The sunlight shifts, and suddenly a burst of rainbow light dances across the leaves. Nestled between blooms sits a perfect sphere, its surface covered in a mosaic of shimmering seedy fragments, an unexpected jewel in the midst of nature. These garden spheres are born from the forgotten, old discs once filled with songs, photos, and memories. Now, cut into delicate shards, they hold the sun in their grasp, scattering it across the garden like tiny drops of magic. The making is almost meditative. You take a simple bowling ball or old sphere, smooth its surface, and begin to place each piece of CD like a puzzle. Iridescent blues, purples, and greens catch the light differently with every turn. Bit by bit, the dull base disappears beneath a skin of shifting color. When the afternoon sun reaches its peak, the sphere transforms. Each shard acts as a mirror, reflecting the surrounding flowers, the sky, even your own face in miniature. It's not just decoration. It's an ever-changing piece of living art that moves with the day and the seasons. In the evening, as the last rays of light fade, the sphere softens into a muted glow, still catching the occasional glint of twilight. Guests pause, drawn to its quiet beauty, often asking how something so dazzling could come from something as ordinary as an old CD. And that is its charm. A reminder that beauty often lies hidden in the most unexpected places, waiting for patient hands to reveal it, piece by shimmering piece. At the far end of the yard, something unexpected stands tall, a tower of color that bursts with life. What was once destined for the landfill now blooms under the open sky. Old tires, once rolling down endless roads, have found a new purpose as a vibrant terrarium, giving shelter to flowers and herbs instead of gathering dust. The transformation begins simply. A tire is cleaned, dried, and painted in bright, joyful hues: sunflower yellow, ocean blue, forest green. Stencils add delicate patterns, vines curling across the surface, blossoms frozen mid-bloom. As the paint dries in the sunlight, you can already imagine the greenery that will spill from its edges. Stacked carefully, each tire becomes a level in a living tower. Soil fills the hollow, and soon small plants take root, their leaves brushing against the painted edges. Bright marigolds, trailing ivy, and herbs like basil and mint create a patchwork of color and texture. There's something deeply satisfying about seeing these once-forgotten pieces of rubber transformed into a home for life. The round, sturdy shape offers a natural frame for the plants, and the colors bring a playful cheer to the garden. On sunny mornings, butterflies flit from bloom to bloom, and bees hum in lazy arcs, making the tires part of the natural rhythm of the day. Visitors often pause to take photos, charmed by the idea that something so ordinary and so often discarded can become a centerpiece. It's a reminder that creativity and care can breathe beauty into anything, even the most unexpected materials. In the recycled tire terrarium, you see not just plants growing, but possibilities too. In the soft glow of a late morning, the garden takes on a gentle charm. Against the weathered boards of a patio, metal buckets, once plain and utilitarian, now brim with life. Their surfaces, brushed with layers of chalk paint in muted creams and pastels, tell a story of transformation. These rustic planters began their lives in a different role, perhaps carrying tools, holding water, or storing grain. Years left them with a patina of scratches and dents, but those marks only deepen their character. With a little care, the metal is cleaned, the handles polished, and the surface given a new skin of color. A touch of distressing reveals hints of the metal beneath, creating a texture that feels like it belongs to another era. Within each bucket, soil cradles roots. Marigolds nod in the breeze, lavender stretches toward the sun, and tiny alyssum flowers spill gently over the edge. The cool metal keeps the soil steady in temperature, a small kindness to the plants it holds. There's a quiet satisfaction in repurposing such simple vessels. On a summer afternoon, you might find yourself moving them around the deck, arranging and rearranging them like pieces of living art. Each combination, bucket, color, plant, creates a new scene. Neighbors who visit often ask where you bought them, surprised to learn they were once destined for the scrap pile. And when you explain how easy they are to make, their eyes light up with possibility. In that moment, the buckets become more than planters. They become a shared idea, a seed planted in someone else's imagination. In a secluded nook of the garden, sunlight filters softly through the leaves, pooling onto a quiet stage. At its center stands a pedestal bird bath, its wide ceramic platter catching the light like a polished mirror. The surface trembles gently as a breeze brushes the water, sending ripples outward. This creation began with a simple idea: to give new life to a discarded platter whose delicate floral designs still whispered of elegance. Instead of lying forgotten at the back of a cupboard, it now rests atop a painted pedestal, rising just high enough to invite feathered guests. The making is simple yet rewarding. A sturdy glass vase or salvaged pedestal base is chosen, painted with colors that harmonize with the garden. The platter is secured firmly on top, creating a shallow, welcoming pool. When the first water fills it, the reflections seem to double the beauty of the flowers nearby. Before long, the garden comes alive with movement. Sparrows dip their beaks delicately into the water, robins fluff their feathers in playful splashes, and butterflies rest at the edge to sip. The bird bath becomes more than an ornament. It's a small sanctuary. There's a joy in watching the garden through the eyes of its visitors. You learn their rhythms, the early morning gatherings, the midday pauses, the evening goodbyes. This simple piece transforms a corner of the yard into a meeting place, a stage for small, quiet dramas played out under the sun. And perhaps the most beautiful part? Knowing that what you see is a shared moment between you and the wild hearts that visit. Proof that a little care and creativity can turn the ordinary into something quietly magical. As the sun slips beneath the horizon, the garden begins to change. Shadows stretch long, colors deepen, and a soft golden glow starts to bloom along the path. The light comes not from expensive fixtures, but from humble tin cans, once destined for the recycling bin, now transformed into lanterns that dance with warmth and charm. The journey begins in daylight. Empty cans are cleaned, labels removed, and surfaces smoothed. With a steady hand, patterns are marked: stars, vines, or delicate swirls. A small hammer and nail create tiny perforations, each tap a note in the quiet song of making. Later, the cans are dressed in coats of paint: turquoise, coral, sunshine yellow, each as cheerful as the blooms in the garden. When dusk arrives, small LED candles are placed inside. The light escapes through the punched patterns, scattering stars across the ground and walls. There's something almost magical in the way the designs shift as the breeze moves the lanterns ever so slightly. Guests often pause mid-conversation to admire them, tracing the patterns with their eyes. Some remember making similar crafts as children, their voices softening with nostalgia. Others lean close, surprised at how something so ordinary can look so enchanting. These lanterns don't just illuminate, they tell a story. They speak of resourcefulness, of finding beauty in the overlooked, and of the simple pleasure of creating something with your own hands. In their gentle light, the garden becomes more than a space. It becomes an experience, one where every flicker feels like a whispered invitation to linger just a little longer. In the heart of the vegetable patch, small splashes of color peek out from the greenery, not flowers, but markers, each one shaped from a fragment of an old license plate. The numbers and letters, once racing along highways, now rest quietly among rows of herbs and vegetables, lending both charm and clarity to the garden. The making begins with a hunt through old storage boxes or flea market stalls. A weathered plate, its paint chipped from years of travel, catches the light just so. Tin snips cut it into neat rectangles or whimsical shapes, and sharp edges are smoothed away. With steady strokes, plant names are stenciled on using outdoor paint pens: basil, mint, tomatoes, each one bold and easy to read. When the markers are pressed into the soil, they bring a playful industrial touch to the garden. The glossy metal contrasts beautifully with the living greens, and the painted words make it easy to navigate the beds. No more guessing which shoots are carrots and which are parsley. The markers stand like friendly signposts guiding you through your own little farm. Over time, the plates weather further, softening in color and texture, blending into the life of the garden. Birds perch on them, raindrops bead on their surfaces, and the sun warms the metal in the morning light. Visitors often smile when they spot them, bending down to read the names, sometimes tracing the letters with their fingers. The story of the plate's first life, on the open road, meets the story of its second, rooted in soil. Together, they tell a quiet tale of journeys, endings, and new beginnings. In a corner of the garden where the sun filters gently through the leaves, a wooden plaque catches the light. Its surface is a patchwork of color: cobalt blues, soft pinks, and creamy whites, each fragment of pottery holding the memory of a cup, a plate, or a bowl that once had a place at the table. The journey of these plaques begins with something broken. A dish slips from a hand, a teacup chips at the rim, and instead of being thrown away, these pieces are kept. Each shard is washed, edges smoothed, and colors sorted. On a plain wooden board, the pieces find new life, arranged in swirling patterns or blooming flowers. There's a kind of poetry in the work. You start with a pile of fragments, each one imperfect, and slowly they become something whole again. The glue dries, the design sets, and the plaque becomes a small window into a story of renewal. Hung on a fence or leaned against a wall, these mosaics bring bursts of color to the garden. Rain makes the tiles glisten, morning light warms their tones, and in the evening, they fade into a gentle shadow play. Each one is unique, not just because of its pattern, but because of the history in its pieces. Visitors often pause to study them, sometimes recognizing a familiar pattern from an old china set. They smile, realizing that beauty doesn't always come from perfection. It can just as easily grow from the broken. And in that moment, the plaques become more than decoration. They become quiet reminders of resilience, patience, and the art of finding beauty in what remains. Along the garden's edge, a burst of greenery rises from the ground, not in pots or beds, but climbing up a wall of reclaimed wood. This vertical garden began as a discarded pallet, weathered and rough, once used to move goods across warehouses. Now it has been given a second life, standing tall as a living tapestry. The process starts with sanding away the splinters and stains of its past. A coat of paint, perhaps a calming sage green or a cheerful turquoise, gives it new warmth. Fabric grow bags are attached securely to each row, ready to cradle soil and roots. One by one, plants take their place. Cascading ivy drapes over the edges. Mint releases a gentle fragrance when brushed, and clusters of pansies splash color in every direction. The arrangement becomes a patchwork quilt of textures and tones, alive and shifting with the seasons. There's a special satisfaction in seeing a once-forgotten object turned into something so functional and beautiful. The pallet not only saves space, but also transforms a bare wall into a lush focal point. For those with small yards or balconies, it's a clever way to bring in more greenery without sacrificing ground space. In the early mornings, dew gathers on the leaves, and the pallet garden hums softly with bees and hummingbirds visiting the blooms. Neighbors walking by often stop, their eyes drawn upward as they take in the living wall. Some ask how it was made, and you see the spark of inspiration in their expression. It's proof that even the simplest materials, when touched by care and creativity, can hold an entire garden in their frame, vertical, vibrant, and full of life. In the middle of a small patio, a slender tower rises like a green sculpture. From top to bottom, its surface bursts with life. Delicate blooms, leafy herbs, and trailing vines spilling over the edges. Look closely, and you'll see its secret. The tower is made entirely from recycled plastic bottles. This vertical planter begins with a simple idea: to take what's often thrown away and turn it into something that nourishes life. Each bottle is cleaned, labels removed, and carefully cut to create planting pockets. Drainage holes are added, ensuring roots can breathe. A sturdy pole runs through the center, holding the bottles in place, stacking them one atop the other. Once assembled, soil fills the pockets, and seedlings find their new home. Basil, cherry tomatoes, and petunias thrive side by side, their roots cradled in the curved plastic. Clear bottles allow a peek at the layers of soil, a subtle reminder of the transformation from waste to wonder. As the days pass, the tower becomes a living column of color and texture. Bees hover around the flowers, and the scent of herbs lingers in the air. The compact design makes it perfect for balconies, courtyards, or corners of a larger garden, places where horizontal space is scarce, but vertical dreams can grow. Visitors often circle the tower, marveling at how such an elegant display could come from something so ordinary. The conversation always begins the same way. "Those are bottles?" And with a smile, you nod, because here in this garden, even the simplest materials have the chance to reach for the sky. Beneath the soft warmth of the afternoon sun, a cozy corner comes to life. Stacked neatly, the wooden crates form the bones of an outdoor lounge, each one carrying the marks of its past life, faint scuffs, uneven grain, and the deep scent of aged wood. With plush cushions and pattern throws layered on top, the space becomes a welcoming haven. It all begins with simple crates, often overlooked and left to gather dust in storage rooms. Sanded smooth and secured together, they transform into sturdy seating that feels both rustic and timeless. The gaps between the slats become opportunities, perfect spaces to tuck in small potted plants, rolled up blankets, or baskets of books. On a bright morning, you can settle into the lounge with a steaming cup of tea, the sun filtering through leaves above. In the evenings, it becomes a gathering place. Friends sink into the cushions, laughter weaving through the soft hum of the garden. The wood warms with the day and releases its gentle scent into the air as the temperature cools. What makes this lounge special is its adaptability. Change the cushion colors with the seasons: sunflower yellow in summer, deep burgundy in autumn, and it feels entirely new. The crates, once utilitarian objects for transport, now hold something far more valuable: moments of rest, conversation, and connection. Visitors often ask where you bought it, and there's a certain joy in telling them it was built by hand. They lean in, curious, and before long they're sketching their own designs, inspired to create a lounge that reflects their space and style. It's more than furniture. It's an open invitation to slow down and stay a while. In the center of the patio stands a table that seems to hold a piece of the garden's soul. Its round surface glows with colors, deep blues, warm yellows, and bright greens, arranged in a mosaic pattern that catches the light like a stained glass window. Look closer, and you'll see its base is a simple wooden cable spool, once heavy with coils of wire, now transformed into a gathering place. The process starts with cleaning and sanding the sturdy spool, revealing the natural warmth of the wood. Its circular shape is perfect for conversation, inviting people to sit close and share stories. On the top, mosaic tiles, salvaged from broken plates, leftover construction materials, or thrift store finds, are arranged into patterns that feel both artistic and personal. Grout seals the design, and the surface becomes smooth beneath your fingertips. The legs of the spool still bear the character of their former life: small marks, faint stains, and the rich grain of aged timber. A coat of protective sealant ensures the table will weather sun and rain, just as the spool once braved warehouse floors and open-air transport. As the seasons change, the table becomes a constant in the garden's rhythm. Morning coffee rests on its surface as birds sing nearby. Afternoon crafts find a workspace here, the mosaic bright under the sun. Evening gatherings cluster around it, the tiles reflecting the golden light of sunset. Guests can't help but run their fingers across the mosaic, tracing the curves and colors. In its sturdy frame and vibrant top, the table holds two stories, one of labor and industry, and another of beauty and leisure. Together, they create a place where life unfolds, one shared meal, one conversation, one quiet moment at a time. On a rainy afternoon, the sound of the garden changes. Instead of the dull patter of water hitting the ground, there's a melody, soft trickles and gentle splashes as rain flows down a vertical line of colorful tin cans. Each can catches the water for a moment before passing it gracefully to the one below, like a quiet relay in the dance of rain. This rain chain begins with something ordinary, empty cans that once held soup, coffee, or fruit. They're cleaned, labels removed, and painted in metallic shades that shimmer even under a gray sky. Holes are punched, edges smoothed, and the cans are connected one by one, creating a chain that sways gently with the breeze. When the rain comes, the transformation is magical. Droplets gather and stream into the top can, then spill into the next, catching light as they fall. The motion is calming, and the sound, a rhythmic cascade, is softer and more soothing than the harsh rush of a downspout. On sunny days, the rain chain still holds its charm. Its colors catch the light, and the cans sway in the wind, adding a playful touch to the garden's design. It's functional, guiding rainwater away from the roof, but also entirely decorative, a blend of art and utility. Neighbors often pause at the sight, intrigued by how such a simple object can be so captivating. It's a small reminder that beauty doesn't always demand grand gestures. Sometimes, it's just a matter of giving something old a new role, letting it catch the rain and share its music with the garden. When the clouds gather and the first drops fall, the garden greets the rain with quiet elegance. A vertical line of metal funnels, each gleaming softly, transforms the descent of water into a graceful performance. One funnel catches the rain, guiding it into a perfect stream that spills into the next, and the next, until it kisses the ground. This rain chain begins with an unlikely hero: old funnels, perhaps once used in kitchens, workshops, or barns. Their wide mouths and narrow necks make them perfect for guiding water, and their sturdy metal frames carry the charm of things built to last. With a bit of paint, copper, bronze, or brushed steel, they take on the glow of timeless craftsmanship. Linked together with decorative chains, The funnels sway slightly in the breeze. When rain flows through them, each piece sings its own note, the water's rhythm changing with the wind and the weight of the downpour. It's a spectacle for the eyes and a lullaby for the ears. Even when the sun shines, the chain remains a focal point. Its metallic finish catches and reflects light, and in the stillness, it hints at the beauty it will reveal when the rain returns. Visitors often pause beneath it, tilting their heads to trace the funnels upward, marveling at the blend of art and function. The funnel flow rain chain is more than a clever way to guide water. It's a reminder that even the most practical objects can be transformed into something poetic. Here, utility meets artistry, and the result is a gentle celebration of rain's journey from sky to earth. Nestled between the blooms and leaves, tiny creatures seem to peek out at you. A bright red ladybug resting on a leaf, a frog with a wide, knowing grin, a befrozen midbuzz. But a closer look reveals the secret. They're not living things at all, but smooth river rocks, lovingly painted into garden companions. It begins with a walk along a riverbank or a garden path, searching for stones with just the right shape, a plump oval for a ladybug, a squat, round one for a frog. Each rock is cleaned and dried before a coat of vibrant paint brings it to life. The transformation is magical. Black spots the ladybug shell, a frog's green body gains golden eyes, a bee's yellow stripes gleam in the sun. Placing these painted creatures in the garden turns every corner into a small discovery. Children delight in spotting them, crouching low to look closely. Adults smile at the playful surprise tucked among the flowers. The rocks don't demand attention. They reward curiosity. As the seasons change, the painted rocks endure, their colors bright against autumn leaves or winter frost. Over time, they become familiar faces in the garden, part of its character and story. Some even find themselves given as gifts, traveling to new gardens and bringing their charm along. These garden creatures prove that art doesn't have to be grand to bring joy. Sometimes, it's as simple as giving a humble rock a pair of eyes, a coat of color, and a place to call home among the blossoms. And in doing so, you add not just decoration, but a touch of wonder to the everyday rhythm of the garden. As the evening settles over the garden, a soft golden glow begins to appear. At first, it seems like magic, tiny streams of light spilling gracefully from the spout of a watering can, cascading toward the flowers below. It's as if the day's sunlight had been caught and poured out again, drop by glowing drop. This enchanting display starts with something familiar, an old metal watering can, its handle worn smooth from years of use. Hung from a shepherd's hook or tree branch, it becomes a stage for a simple transformation. Thin strands of fairy lights are threaded through the spout, their ends trailing downward in delicate arcs. When the lights switch on, whether from solar power or a hidden battery pack, the effect is immediate. Each strand glimmers like a thread of water, and the surrounding petals catch the light, glowing softly against the night. The watering can, once purely practical, now serves as a gentle beacon in the garden. On warm summer nights, it adds a touch of whimsy to outdoor gatherings. Guests often pause, drawn to the illusion, their faces lit by the warm shimmer. In quieter moments, it's simply a pleasure to watch from a porch chair, the garden bathed in a subtle, magical glow. What makes this piece truly special is its blend of nostalgia and imagination. It preserves the history of the watering can while giving it a new role, one that invites wonder. And in a world that moves so quickly, it's a reminder to slow down, enjoy the evening air, and let a little light spill gently into the dark. In the quiet heart of the garden, a wooden lattice rises from the soil, not cut from uniform planks, but woven from branches gathered under open skies. Each curve and twist tells of the tree it once belonged to, the wind that shaped it, the seasons it has weathered. Together, they form a trellis that is as natural as the plants it supports. The making is as much a walk as it is a craft. You wander through wooded paths or your own yard after storm, collecting branches that are sturdy yet flexible. Their bark carries shades of gray and brown, a mosaic of textures. With strong twine, you tie them together, crisscrossing to create a frame that invites vines to climb. Once placed in the garden, the trellis becomes part of its slow, patient magic. Tendrils of sweet peas or morning glories curl around the branches, inching upward day by day. By midsummer, flowers spill over the top, and the trellis seems less like a separate piece and more like a living sculpture. Rain darkens the wood, sun bleaches it, and time softens its edges. Birds sometimes perch along its horizontal beams, watching the life below. Visitors may not notice it at first, its natural colors blending into the scene, but those who look closely see the beauty in its simplicity. The branch lattice trellis is more than a plant support. It's a collaboration between human hands and nature's own artistry. It reminds us that some of the most beautiful designs are already waiting for us, scattered on the forest floor or resting in our backyards, ready to rise again in a new form. Along the sunlit side of the garden, a wall shimmers like water catching the morning light. From a distance, it seems as if it's covered in silver leaves, each one catching and scattering the sun in 1,000 directions. Step closer, and the truth reveals itself, a mosaic born from broken mirrors, given a new purpose beyond their former reflections. The creation begins with care. Old mirrors, cracked or no longer whole, are carefully broken into smaller shards. Each piece is smoothed at the edges, their irregular shapes becoming part of the design's charm. With gloves on and patience in hand, the pieces are arranged on the wall, their angles chosen to play with light and shadow. When the adhesive dries, the magic begins. Sunlight shifts across the day, dancing over the shards, casting glimmers into nearby leaves and flowers. On cloudy days, the mosaic becomes softer, reflecting muted tones that match the garden's quiet mood. It's a living artwork, changing with the weather and the seasons. Guests can't help but stop and stare, catching glimpses of themselves among the fractured reflections. The mosaic turns the simple act of walking past a wall into an experience, a moment to pause, to notice the way light can transform the ordinary. Beyond its beauty, the shattered mirror wall mosaic carries a quiet philosophy that broken things can still reflect something wonderful. It's a reminder, for the garden and for life, that even fragments can come together to create something whole, vibrant, and utterly unique. Against the garden fence, a cascade of flowers blooms all year round, not from soil, but from the unexpected beauty of plastic bottle bottoms. Painted in bright reds, blues, yellows, and greens, each piece catches the sunlight, glowing softly like stained glass petals. The process begins with a careful cut. Plastic bottles, once destined for the recycling bin, are trimmed just above their base, revealing the natural petal-like curves hidden in their design. Edges are smooth, then coated with vibrant outdoor paints. Some petals are left translucent, allowing light to pass through, while others are given opaque, bold colors for contrast. Once painted, the pieces are arranged on the wall in clusters, daisies in white and yellow, sunflowers in warm golds, bursts of tropical colors scattered in between. The placement is playful, as if the flowers have been carried there by a gentle wind. As the day passes, sunlight filters through the translucent pieces, casting colored shadows on the wall behind them. Even on cloudy days, the mural brings a cheerfulness to the garden, a reminder that beauty can grow from the humblest of materials. Visitors are often surprised to learn that these blossoms began life as ordinary bottles. Children especially are drawn to them, tracing the shapes and asking how they were made. It becomes a conversation not just about art, but about reuse, creativity, and seeing potential where others see waste. The bottle-bottom flower mural transforms what was once disposable into something enduring, an ever-blooming wall of color that brightens the garden in every season, proof that even the smallest cast-offs can blossom in the right hands. In the corner of the patio, a quiet partition stands, a series of old wooden shutters, hinged together and painted in gentle shades of seafoam, cream, and faded blue. They sway slightly in the breeze, their slats filtering sunlight into soft stripes across the ground. The effect is both private and open, a perfect balance for a space meant for rest. The shutters began their life framing windows, opening to views of busy streets or peaceful gardens. When their time there was done, they were rescued, cleaned, and sanded until the grain of the wood peeked through. Fresh paint brought them back to life, and sturdy hinges joined them into a freestanding screen. Placed strategically, the shutter privacy screen offers shelter from prying eyes without shutting out the world entirely. You can still feel the wind through the slats, still catch glimpses of the garden beyond, yet enjoy the comfort of a defined, intimate space. In the evenings, string lights drape from its frame, turning it into a warm backdrop for conversation. In the day, climbing vines begin to weave through the slats, softening the lines with leaves and blossoms. Over time, the shutters feel less like an addition and more like a natural part of the patio's rhythm. Guests often remark on its charm, running their fingers along the textured wood, marveling at how something once destined for the landfill has become the heart of the seating area. And for you, it's a daily reminder that beauty often hides in what's already around us, waiting to be opened, repainted, and given a new view to frame. Winding through the heart of the garden, a simple path feels complete, not just from the stepping stones beneath your feet, but from the edging that frames it. Along each side, old bricks and pieces of concrete, worn smooth by time, stand like quiet guardians, defining the way forward. These edges began as leftovers, bricks from a dismantled wall, concrete fragments from a past renovation. Instead of being discarded, they were given a new role, cleaned and sorted. Each piece finds its place in the gentle curve of the path. Some stand upright, others are laid flat, their uneven surfaces catching the light in different ways. The effect is subtle yet grounding. The edging keeps soil and mulch neatly in place, guiding the eye and the feet along the garden's flow. Moss begins to grow between the cracks, softening the lines and adding a touch of age-old charm. On early mornings, dew gathers along the tops of the bricks, glistening in the soft light. In the evenings, the edges catch the last golden rays of sunset, glowing warmly against the green backdrop. The path becomes more than a route. It becomes a journey framed by texture and history. Guests walking through often pause to comment on the edging, surprised at how something so functional can also feel so decorative. It's proof that the details, the quiet, often overlooked elements, are what give a space its soul. And in this case, it's also a reminder that what's left over can still lead the way beautifully. Scattered along the garden path, little flashes of color catch the eye. Emerald greens, sapphire blues, and ruby reds, all sparkling under the sun. They're not flowers or insects, but smooth stones dressed in the brilliance of glass gems, turning the ground itself into a gallery. It begins with a simple stone, flat and sturdy, found near a riverbank or purchased from a garden center. Cleaned and dried, it becomes a blank canvas. Small glass gems, rescued from craft drawers or thrift stores, are arranged into patterns, sunbursts, mandalas, clusters of petals. The process is slow and deliberate, each gem placed with care, secured with strong outdoor adhesive. When the sun is high, the gems ignite with color, casting tiny reflections onto nearby leaves. Even on cloudy days, they retain a subtle glow, adding texture and intrigue to the garden's palette. Placed among flowers, they echo the colors of the blooms. Lined along a path, they guide the way with a gentle shimmer. Over time, raindrops bead on their surfaces, magnifying the colors beneath. In the early morning, dew adds a delicate sparkle. In the evening, The last light of day seems to linger in each gem. Guests often kneel to examine them more closely, tracing the patterns and marveling at the transformation of simple materials into something so striking. The glass gem garden stones are more than decoration. They're tiny treasures that invite you to slow down and notice the ground beneath your feet. They remind you that beauty doesn't always tower above. Sometimes, it rests quietly under the sun, waiting to be discovered in the smallest of details. On the side of the shed, the wall is no longer bare. It's a burst of color and shape, a garden that blooms without soil or water. Round metal hubcaps, once spinning along highways, have been reborn as brilliant flowers, their metallic curves transformed into petals that catch both sunlight and imagination. The process begins with a forgotten stack of hubcaps, their surfaces dulled by years of wear. Each one is cleaned until the metal shines faintly beneath the scratches. Then, with brushes and bright paints, the transformation begins. Deep crimson petals radiating from a sunny yellow center, sky blue blossoms edged in white, bold patterns that seem to swirl as if moved by an unseen breeze. Mounted on a wall or fence, the hubcaps take on new life. Their three-dimensional curves make the flowers seem to lift away from the surface, and in the midday sun, the colors pop against the backdrop of wood or brick. Rain gives them a glistening sheen, while evening light softens their tones into something almost romantic. Passers-by often stop to admire them, puzzled at first before realizing what they're made from. There's a spark of recognition, followed by a smile, a moment when art and memory meet. For some, the flowers are simply beautiful. For others, they are a story of transformation, a testament to how even the most utilitarian objects can become something joyful. The hubcap flower wall art is more than decoration. It's a celebration of creativity and resourcefulness. It's proof that beauty can grow in unexpected places, and that even objects built for speed and function can, with a little imagination, find their place in a garden that stands still and blooms forever.